we are going to talk about, I've been wanting to do this for a while, but there are so many.
What the fuck, dude?
Did you put 26 seconds?
No, it has a timer for 25, 14, 13, 12.
That's weird. Okay.
I don't know.
Got a little timer because our cameras like to, go out at like 29 minutes. Okay. So, but anyways, okay. So, we've been wanting to do this for a little while because there are so many genders that you gotta go over them, and you gotta know what everyone's talking about.
I just don't want to acknowledge it anymore.
I know, right? Okay. Wait. This is A to D.
If people actually just spent time, like working instead of creating new gender names, then the world would be a better place.
Okay. So AFAB, acronym meaning assigned female at birth. So a woman. Agender, someone who doesn't identify with the idea or experience of having a gender.
Isn't that what non-binary is?
Yeah. Okay. That's one thing that I will say before getting into all this. There are so many of these, because I've read through a couple of them, that are just, it's like a rehash of the
I'm just going to make up my own terms.
Okay. What's yours?
Man, woman. Pick one.
Man, woman?
No, man or woman.
Yeah, okay, exactly. What we've been doing for years.
I'm not calling people anything else.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Okay, Alia gender?
So you're an alligator.
That's what I immediately thought too.
No, I know it. You support and you're friends of a person that can't figure out what they are.
What's like an alias gender? Yeah. Like, who was that? That TV show? A non-binary gender identity that doesn't fit into existing gender schemes or constructs.
So basically all these people are like schizophrenic versions of non-gendered people.
They're all Moon Knight. So androgyne, someone who has a gender presentation or identity that's gender neutral, androgynous, or has both masculine and feminine characteristics. So David Bowie? Is that?
I've decided on job applications, since we don't ask male, female, or Mr., Miss, all that stuff anymore, it's just going to say the check mark's going to be vagina or penis.
You have a peen or a veen? A pora gender, both an umbrella term and non-binary gender identity describing the experience of having a specific gender that's different from man, woman, or any combination of the two. What? What the fuck does any of this mean?
I think people are just
bored.
This is just proof that so many prescription medicines that moms took when they were pregnant with their kids, basically the drugs that said do not take it pregnant.
Like crack baby? That's what happened. Okay. So you're saying that all of the LGBT LMNOPs are all crack babies?
Or a version of it. It's like if moms took, I don't know, what would have been a drug?
Adderall, you're non-binary. Vicodin, you're all...
Or this is if like you like, what do you call it when like you sniff?
You like huff?
The can, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Like that's what it is. That's where LMNOPs come from. So
bigender is... it describes someone who identifies with two distinct genders. Bigender, doesn't this interfere with non-binary? Because that means that there's more than just the binary, right? A bigender indicates the number of gender identities someone has. It doesn't indicate which gender someone identifies with or level of identification they have with a particular gender, such as 50% male, 50% demi-girl.
But I want to know, like, why somebody feels that they don't want to either be female or male. Like, why are you trying to identify as a dining room table or whatever? You know, like, why do you need to identify as something else?
Someone said I identify as demon. Referred to me. My pronouns are demon and demon self. I'm not kidding you.
Well, it's that they obviously have a mental condition.
Exactly. Body dysphoria. Body dysphoria is different from body dysmorphic disorder. It refers to a specific type of gender dysphoria that manifests as distress or discomfort with aspects of the body. What?
So a man is upset that he has a swinging dick.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it gets in the way, but it's okay. When it's cold, it's fine because it crawls up. Boy. B-O-I, by the way, not B-O-Y. Gender.
Boy.
Yeah. This is the Flavor Flav gender.
Yeah.
A term primarily used in the LGBTQ LMNOP communities of color that typically describes someone who has a presentation, sexuality, or gender that's considered boyish. Okay, so this is only used...
So a tomboy, but in the black community.
Exactly. Or, you know, other colors other than
so
white,
maybe we spelled it wrong. Maybe it's Tomboi.
Yeah.
This whole time.
Exactly. So...
all girls growing up that were tomboyish.
So Missy Elliott...
is a tomboy.
Is a boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Butch.
And maybe when she goes boy in her, that's what she's referring to.
So butch, which that term has been around forever.
Yeah.
Butch is just a more masculine presenting lesbian, right?
Yeah.
That's what I know it as.
Yeah.
Okay. Primarily used in the LGBTQIA+.
Just call it the alphabet.
Okay. Communities. This term typically describes someone with a presentation, sexuality, or gender that's considered masculine. Hey, we got one!
Yeah, we won!
Yay!
What did we get? What did we win?
Okay, so cisgender. Well, actually, talking about the butch, we were watching, what is that dumb movie you just had to watch this morning? What is it called?
Catch and Release.
There we go, Catch and Release. But Kevin Smith, that's what we were talking about, Kevin Smith earlier. Kevin Smith said, were you the bitch or the butch?
Yeah.
Talking about what Jennifer Garner...
lesbians.
Like, made it.
Yeah.
Which is a weird term for fucking someone. Made it with a woman. And his response was, were you the bitch or the butch? And I'm sorry, absolutely hilarious. So cisgender, a term used to describe people who exclusively identify with the sex and gender they were assigned at birth. I don't understand why that's cis.
So basically...
that's us.
I'm a female.
You're a cisgender female.
I'm a female.
Yes.
Alone.
Yes. So cishet is cisgender and heterosexual. So we are cishet. Or cis shit. I don't know. Cishet. Kishit. Cisnormativity. We're in the C's, by the way.
God, can we just skip?
I'm skipping through a couple of them.
Let's just go through the cisses.
Let
we
me
don't
see.
need those.
Okay. So, dyadic. That sounds stupid, so let's read it. This describes people who have sex characteristics such as chromosomes, hormones, internal organs, or anatomy that can be easily categorized into the binary sex framework of male or female. Dyadic conveys information about someone's sex characteristics, but doesn't include anything about their gender. What? So now you're conflating sex and gender.
I don't know.
I'm so confused. Feminine of center. Feminine presenting? Femme? Like, is this not... Okay, female to male. I get that. That's the actual trans, right?
Yeah.
That's transitioning from a female to a male. Okay. Gender apathetic. This term describes someone who doesn't strongly identify with any gender or with any gender labels.
They just,
Yeah, I don't know what I am. Gender dysphoria. Oh, you mean what all of them have? This is both a medical diagnosis and an informal term used to communicate challenging feelings or distress people experience in relation to gender. The medical diagnosis of gender dysphoria refers to a conflict between someone's assigned sex as male, female, or intersex and their gender identity. When used informally, gender dysphoria describes interactions, assumptions, physical traits, or body parts that don't feel affirming or inclusive of someone's expressed or experienced gender. So gender dysphoria, that is what was in medical textbooks for decades.
Yeah.
About trans, right? So that's the most on point. Okay, so we're going to go through.
Yeah, we gotta skip the gender, neutral, gender, all that.
Yeah, okay. So gender roles. Gender fuck? That sounds interesting. Gender fuck. Similar to the term gender bender.
Oh my God.
What was gender bender? Did we pass that one? Because that sounds funny. Oh, they don't even have it. Okay, well, why are you putting fucking terms that you didn't cover before? Show your work, dickhole. Where's gender fuck? Gender fuck, there we go. Similar to the term gender bender, this term involves the act of combating or dismantling the gender binary and stereotypes through a gender identity, expression, or presentation that challenges existing norms and expectations in a given cultural context. Oh, gender fuck. So it's like a clusterfuck. Like that. That's the way that's the way I understand
it. And genderqueer?
Genderqueer, this non-binary gender identity and term describes someone with a gender that can't be categorized as exclusively man or woman or exclusively masculine or feminine. So they just don't know what the fuck they are.
Oh God. A gray gender? A gender void. It sounds like a band name.
Yeah, or something in Star Trek. Gray gender, a gender term that describes someone who experiences ambivalence about gender identity or expression and doesn't fully identify with a binary gender that's exclusively man or woman. What?
I'm so confused with all of this.
Intersex. Okay, intersex is something that is an actual legitimate... not saying everyone, whatever, however you identify, I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying some of it sounds a little ridiculous. But intersex is actually a medical term.
All this is ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Well, there's male, female, and intersex because some people are actually born with both male and female parts.
Can you imagine? That would suck.
Oh, like if you had
like, hey, you have a boy girl. Boy.
Is that a dick or a huge clit? You're only 0 days old. How do you have a huge clit? How do you circumcise that?
And then parents would have to make a decision right then and there. That was in one of my classes in college. I did.
They have like a uterus and testicles. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, it was, and I can't remember what class it was. It was just like a elective that I thought sounded interesting, and it was something to do. It was like the first time that I'd really heard of anything gender studies kind of thing. So it just sounded interesting. So everyone was in there for like, cool, we can get an easy grade on this.
Yeah.
And we watched a movie, and it was literally about parents that had to make a decision on which gender to assign their baby because they had to make a selection
because of the intersex thing.
And then raise them that way.
Ugh.
And they said they literally didn't know. They literally had to flip a coin. Because they could have been either.
Okay, imagine.
And so they raised the baby as a girl.
Okay,
because she had internal organs. So they got rid of.
They cut his dick off.
Balls and that because they said that she already had the internal. So it would have been more invasive surgery to get rid of that.
To like pull it from the outside.
Do whatever they do. I don't know.
And then imagine if later they wanted to be a boy and they're like,
that's what happened.
So we cut your dick off.
No, that's what happened. So that's what the whole movie was about. It was like a, it kind of reminded me of like Unsolved Mysteries, how they did the show. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Boom, boom. Okay. And yeah, it was crazy though, because I guess they said that because this baby had both hormones, both of them, they thought that by getting rid of the male parts, the baby would have more female hormones, but it worked out the opposite. And then she ended up
being Rosie O'Donnell,
wanting to be male. And then they had to tell her, well, you kind of were born with all of that, and we took it away from you.
Hey guys, we here at the Till Death Podcast realize that with everything opening up, you might need some new clothes to show off in public. It's scary, I know. But you can rest assured that we've got your back. We have high quality merch and fair prices so you can support your new favorite podcast without breaking the bank. We have a bunch of items to choose from, like this shirt, which is my personal favorite. Oh, it's upside down. See, we got this. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Or, also, this one for the ladies. For my lady, and punch myself in the balls. There we go, it's our old paint splat shirt. We also have tanks, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, yoga pants, beach towels, and even fanny packs. Like this one right here. So just head over to teespring.com/stores and use the promo code NOMOREMASK and you'll get 15% off your entire order. That's No More Mask for 15% off. So what are you waiting for? Just do it! Just do it! Go get one. They're awesome. Do it. Also, head over to solo.to/tildeathpodcast for all things till death and how to stay up to date with all of our content. Babe, thought laundry was your job.
Get all this merch out of my house.
See what I mean?
Okay, imagine when you're younger and, well, you know, when we were both single. Imagine hooking up with someone and then you go home and they have both going on.
Ugh, that's a bye.
Yeah.
Get it?
It's just so weird. Like, I couldn't do that.
No, I would literally be like, ah! And out.
Yeah, but like, okay, it's, I think it's a lot different for the girl on girl to guy on guy. I'm sorry, doesn't matter what it is. It's just a lot different. It would be easier for you because you're expecting a penis. Like, that's just a part of, if you're gonna hook up with a dude, you're expecting a penis and
what
balls.
if there was a vagina behind that penis?
But like underneath, then you don't really have to pay attention to it. I'm just saying.
But it would be an immediate, like, you've got an issue.
Well, because the way I think of it is like, so here's the penis and here's the balls, and then the vagina is just right underneath it, right? So you can just.
Ew, no.
I'm just saying you can not see it, but
I mean,
for
it'll
a guy,
stay hidden.
it's hidden
Like,
behind
well, he
the
has
balls.
extra large man titties, but
Exactly, like it's just hidden behind the balls. It's like a cave with a little rock on the top of it, so you can kind of like get. But I'm expecting just a vagina. I can't see past the cock. Like, that's, you see what I mean? Like, it's a little bit different.
I mean, like, if that rolls out, then yeah, I mean,
like, hey,
it's presenting.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so
Would you go Lorena Bobbitt on him?
Yeah, exactly.
No. There's a snake in here.
What is it? Fucking like a chick with his head cut off? That, like, oh my god. Okay, multigender. I don't want to get into that. Pangender, a non-binary.
A
Peter Pan?
pangender octopus who roams the galaxies in search of love.
Exactly. A non-binary gender identity that describes people who experience all or many gender identities on the gender spectrum simultaneously or over time, similar to omnigender.
While riding a unicorn.
So that,
If you add
like, the
while
front,
riding a
just
unicorn
the
on
unicorn's
all
head.
of these.
Just sitting on the unicorn's face. Okay, so that means that at any point, they can just change. In the middle of a conversation.
I'm a girl. I'm a man.
Yeah, there's literally been a conversation I've heard where like someone's interviewing someone that's pangender and they switch. And it's just like, what the fuck, dude?
Be like, yeah, I don't think you'll be a good fit for this organization, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
That's
we're not gonna...
sexist. I'm a female. Well, no.
We don't think you're mentally stable to handle this job.
Okay. There's soft butch. Both a gender identity and term used to describe the non-conforming gender expression of someone who has some masculine or butch traits, but doesn't fully fit the stereotypes associated with masculine or butch cisgender lesbians.
You're just you're like a Twinkie.
Yeah, exactly. You're like the soft baked cookies.
But she has a Twinkie because it's like a soft penis. It's a soft peen.
And it's filled with cream. Stone butch. Both a gender identity and term used to describe the non-conforming gender expression of someone who embodies traits associated with feminine butchness or stereotypes associated with traditional masculinity. There's so many that are...
I know. I mean, I know that term, so it was on there. Fantastic.
Trans special. Two-spirit. This umbrella term was created by Native American communities to bring traditional indigenous understandings of gender and sexuality into Western and contemporary Native education and literature. Each First Nation tribe, because that's Native Americans now, it's First Nation, because we changed the meanings of everything just to, fuck with everything in our history. Has its own understanding and meaning of what it means to be two-spirit. So this term can have many definitions because we can't define anything nowadays. Two-spirit generally refers to a gender role believed to be a common, acknowledged, accepted, and praised gender classification among most First Nation communities dating back centuries. What does it mean?
So this means that when they're around the fire pit doing their spiritual dances and such, they take their talking stick and they beat the shit out of your second spirit so it goes away.
Or
and
like
you're back.
the spirit comes out of a dick.
And you're back to your single spirit.
God, dude.
Or actually, it could also mean, two alcohols.
Two spirits. See, that's what it is. So the bottom line that this website wants us to know about gender.
Especially with that.
Ooh, you're a ginger and a gender. Gender. That's probably
That
should be one.
a
That
title.
should be one.
Yeah.
So the bottom line, it's amazing that gender, something many people thought was a simple concept, it is actually so personal, nuanced, and complex. For that reason, it's totally okay if this list is a lot to digest. Probably like most of the penises. Just remember, gender is an essential part of health and well-being for everyone. Becoming familiar with language that helps you to talk about this part of identity and society is a great way to care for yourself and be an ally to others. I'm not trying to be an ally. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
I think
y'all are fucking
what
weird.
they're crossing the line on here is there are two genders. You're either male or you're female because it has to do with your sexual organs, your hormones. That's all gender is. Now, if you want to express yourself, like someone can express themselves and say, I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert, I'm a this, I'm a that. That to me is what all that is.
Yeah.
You express yourself however you want. You dress however you want.
Yeah.
You can change your name. You can tell people, today for this hour, I am associating with blah, blah, blah. Cool. Do you. But don't bring this in to the scientific community and start saying that there's more than two genders.
Which is the whole... There's the whole discussion about the Leah Thomas thing, the swimmer that won the.
And I love that all the female athletes are like, no.
Oh, fuck you, because
the actual female athletes.
Yeah, exactly. The real
card carrying female athletes.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a card?
I do actually. I was issued it right at birth.
Oh, I didn't get a
when
mail.
you're vagina. Here you go. Here's your card.
I didn't get a penis pass.
Oh.
Yeah.
What would mine be called? Penis pass.
Vagina validation. No. So a vag valid. A valid vag?
It is a valid vag.
It is. It's validated. I can attest.
It's a certified cunt.
You got your cunt certification? You are cunt certified.
It's like it's like one step below an AA degree.
Okay, so with the Leah Thomas stuff, it's like you guys, and when I say you guys, I mean the elemental piece. You started with gender is an identity. Gender is not is different from sex, right? That's what the whole thing that we've come to understand that you guys are trying to tell
Then
us,
don't
right?
say it's gender.
No, but gender is
Because they're saying gender is not having to do with sex.
So gender and sex are different. So gender can be what you identify. Gender is a social construct. It's an identity. It's all that, right? That's what I'm just going off of what they're saying. Now, and sex is different because sex is what you're assigned at birth,
sex
right?
is either male or female,
Exactly.
but then gender is
what you identify
whatever the hell you want to be.
Exactly. You attack helicopter, loaf of bread, like whatever.
Okay.
I can understand that to a point.
I can understand that.
But when you're talking about sports, when you're talking about breaking records and doing all this and trying to compete against, then it's biology. It is set.
It's sex. So if we're going to be consistent with that, that's fine. Identify that there are two sexes that exist.
Exactly.
Male,
or
female.
There's at least different divisions because, and you play, I think golf is a little bit different of a thing, but when it comes to tennis or basketball or like baseball, which there's baseball and softball, like
what are you saying about golf?
I'm saying golf is a little bit different of a sport where, I mean, yeah, there's the power differences between male, man and woman or male and female, since we're saying biologically, like, I think there is a difference in power.
I can only
and
drive
distance.
260 yards, but yet the guy can drive 300 or more. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's a little bit less of a difference, I would say, because it's more. There's only certain power in like the drive or maybe the fairway game or stuff like that.
Whereas if we're talking about the most, let's use the most obvious example here.
Yeah.
Let's look at like CrossFit games or something like that, where it's like pure strength is what you're going off of.
Or basketball or wrestling or certain like more physical sports. Yeah. Then it becomes. Then there's a big difference because it's bone density, it's strength, it's lung capacity,
and if we're not talking about like you're not taking any kind of things like steroids to alter your strength and abilities. And I'm not saying that there's flukes, like there's some women that are like insanely strong, and let's say they're like what they call natural athletes, like they don't take any kind of artificial
anything.
They take vitamins, but they don't take like steroids and stuff.
Exactly.
But yet they're freaking
or HGH or any of that
anything,
stuff.
any actual like altering substance, and they're just fucking strong. I mean, okay, that doesn't happen with every woman though. It's just not naturally
Not
found.
every woman is Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
basically.
So, I fully support, like, you do you.
Yeah.
But I don't support the inequality when it comes to sports and such.
Trans women competing
Not
with
at all.
women. Like Ronda Rousey would beat the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
But if I trained as much as she did, and if I did as much as she did, I could hold her down with one fucking hand.
Well, so the question that I have, and it is a real question that whoever is in charge of the sports rules that has to really consider, because it gets into the scientific realm, is because I was kind of reading more on the whole the swimmer thing, and apparently in the initial I don't even know what the terminology is. Basically, the first thing you have to pass for them to say yes.
I think it's testosterone levels and all that. Yeah.
In order for you to be able to compete, like 6 weeks out or whatever they do
How
where
small
are
have your balls shrunk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Do you
weren't,
tuck them?
So apparently they were considered shriveled enough at that point because they were, or it whatever
Grapes to raisins.
whatever. What's the name of the swimmer?
Leah Thomas.
Leah. Whatever Leah was supposed to be at, whatever level to be able to compete with females, met that, I don't even know what to call it. The swimmer met the level they needed to be at in order to compete. But then I guess So maybe I'm mixing up two stories. I seem to remember them saying like all of a sudden there was some kind of disqualification, and it might have been another transgender in sports recently. So I'm just curious how they determine like the normal level for a female, like. I mean, because women have testosterone too. We have a very small amount of it, and it's keeping that balance because
it's just like men have estrogen. Like
we all have it, and it's all about maintaining maintaining the proper levels. Like you want to have testosterone because it helps with muscle development and things like that. But it's that fine balance. So like whatever the normal balance is of hormones for a female, it's like can you really define that? And if so, is that what they're applying to transgender in order to figure out if they are competing equally? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what if a transgender is at that level? What if the levels are literally like you have swimmer A who's born a female, still a female, and then you have a transgender that's transitioned over to a female. So if biologically the levels of hormones are the same, are we considering them equal competition? Now, questions that come up, and I heard another swimmer bring kind of say this in a post. She said, a person that is born a male will always have the strength of a male.
Yeah.
And that will never go away. But I'm like, is that accurate? You know what I mean? So, I mean, I question that. I'm fine if they're able to make it a fair competition. But can they? I think it's going to take some time to ascertain if that will ever be the case.
No, because so I just looked up, it says NCAA creates new sport-by-sport guidelines for transgender athletes. Let me see. Let me get through the, 8 fucking paragraphs before they get to actually what they're talking about. Approximately 80% of U.S. Olympians are either current or former college athletes. This policy alignment provides consistency and further strengthens the relationship between college sports and the U.S. Olympics. The NCAA policy is effective immediately, beginning with the 2022 Winter Championships. NCAA rules on transgender athletes returned to the forefront when Penn swimmer Leah Thomas started smashing records this year. She was on the men's team her first 3 years, but she is competing for the women's this season after transitioning. Yeah, and what I heard is that she was like 400th or something like that. Like over all of the male athletes, and then first, you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it sounds like it's like a fresher transition. So do they have to transition and like be receiving the female hormones for so long until it finally, you know what I mean? Like 2 years, 4 years, like when?
It says the Board of Governors is suggesting NCAA divisions allow for additional eligibility if a transgender student athlete loses eligibility based on the policy change. That flexibility is provided they meet the NCAA's new guidelines. It doesn't say what the fucking guidelines are. So that was worthless to just read that. And then says the current trans guidelines are creating confusion. Makes sense?
Well, it makes sense. Everything around the trans, ABCDs.
It's like the whole thing about that whole issue, and then we'll wrap this up because we have a couple other things to talk about. Okay, so the whole thing with this is, like we said in the last episode that we were talking about this, it's confusing, and I'd like answers. But then when asking questions and trying to get information on it, it's either, it's just creating confusion and then that's where it's left, or you're a transphobe. It's like, dude, like, I don't care anymore.
What I'm against is not the right for people to choose how they want to represent themselves. I'm against people who are just assholes as humans.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I don't care who the fuck you are.
Yeah. So many people in that respect, I'm an equal
opportunity offender.
Yeah. Because I feel like people just automatically assume that by stating questions that you're against them.
Yeah.
Or have hatred towards them. And it's just like this whole Black Lives Matter thing where we're trying to create or, you know, get rid of the split between black and white and everyone else, and try to bring forth equality. But in doing this whole Black Lives Matter thing, it's made more people feel like they're now leaning towards being racist because of everything that they did wrong. And it's kind of the same way with all this transgender, multigender, whatever thing, because like, you know, State Puff Marshmallow Man on that we talked about last time.
Oh, Trans Biscuits.
Yeah. Marshmallow Man. You know.
Who was 17, by the way.
Gross.
It's just sad.
It's just crazy because I feel like they're all nuts. Or lacking of.
It's just, it sucks because it's like, it's something that, you know, being a human being, you have enough empathy, but that you only have so much before you're like, fuck you, dude. I don't care. I don't give any fucks if that's how you're gonna act.
No, because everyone, like, the funniest thing is when I was talking to my boss and she was telling me that her daughter is gay. Mm-hmm. She's like, I have no issue with that. We support her, whatever. Yeah. She's like, but her daughter is the one that has issues with this whole forefront of the LGBT community, because she said it's actually annoying of everything that they're trying to do right now, trying to promote almost like they're better than everybody else, or, you know, trying to kind of change up. They said like white straight people always had the floor and now it's everyone else's turn. It's kind of how I feel that they're kind of gearing this fight for. Yeah. And, you know, hearing from a gay individual saying, this is ridiculous. Like, this is how overboard people are going with this. Mm-hmm. And obviously for the almighty dollar, then you have a lot of places like Disneyland that don't really give a fuck about that community. They're just there because they find money in everything.
And they're scared.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the times the people that put the fucking pronouns in their bios on their social media or whatever.
That now.
Exactly. And it's because they're scared that if someone catches them slipping, you know what I mean? And catches them without their pronouns in their bio and be like, what, are you transphobic? No, man, I just don't care. It's not my thing. I'm cishet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
like,
a shithead?
Yeah, I'm a fucking shithead. You know what I mean? Like, it just gets to a point where it's like, dude, this is nonsense. It's not what we're supposed to be focusing on. Focus on being a good fucking human.
Yeah. And being in the HR realm, it's really annoying that, and I'm really thankful that I'm not in a workspace that is pushing that. Mm-hmm. We're not pushing that dialogue. We're not forcing people to attend. Like we all took a class online about, it just kind of fell into our normal every other year training on discrimination, harassment. Mm-hmm. So it was like a small blurb of what was it? Bias towards people. Yeah.
Unconscious bias.
That. Yeah. We had a small blurb about that. That's been around for a minute though in our trainings. But other than that, we are not pushing that agenda at my work. We're not forcing people to do any of that. Of
being an asshole. If you are an asshole, I will respond in kind. It's the whole golden rule thing, just like you said last time. If you're a dick to me, I'm going to be a dick to you. Whether you have one, don't, are trying to grow one, or just cut one off. Like, I don't care. Like, if you're an asshole to me, then I'm going to be an asshole to you. Yep. Like, period. Yep. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to try and not be that way. Because, like, if you're immediately an asshole back, then, it's not going to teach them anything. If you try, and if you're a human being and you try and be like, hey, man, like, they might be going through some shit, like, whatever, like, I'm gonna try and maybe hold my tongue and be patient and maybe they'll see that by me being a nice person to them, they'll see, oh, maybe I was an asshole, like they're being good to me, you know, whatever. Maybe they'll learn from it. But 9 times out of 10 with the fucking society that we have right now, that's not gonna happen. And that sucks to admit, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And it sucks. So I'm kind of over talking about all this bullshit right now because it just fires me up and makes me mad.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah, shut up. So everyone just
try to relax your anus.
Our neighbor didn't like that.
Well, fuck that bitch.
If you have multiple pronouns, this is your podcast. Make sure you click down there and subscribe right underneath my non-binary penis.
If you've turned your penis into a banana, this is not the podcast for you. Sham-lam-a-ding-dong.
Shove it up your ding dong, what?
Shove it up the pee hole.
Buffalo!